Hello, Internet friends. Welcome back once again. Thank you all so very much for joining me here today. You're going to be seeing some footage, the last couple of deadlift sessions that I had right before I kind of hit that turnaround point that I mentioned. And some of them are decent, some of them are not so decent. And we're gonna get into some more of the ideas and thoughts that I've been having, some of the stuff that I've been going through, and kind of using one of these sets as a parallel or a metaphor for how I feel like my situation can be explained through an analysis of a not so wonderful top set. So the set you're watching right now is the 665 triple at POO RPE. Basically what happens is I shanked the first 2 reps. I lacked patience, and I started thinking too much about the set as a whole and took myself out of the right here, right now moment. I was overwhelmed by the stress of thinking about the entire thing instead of segmenting it down and breaking it down into one thing at a time. And so the first 2 reps, I ended up wasting a lot of energy because I shanked the bar forward. And so by the 3rd rep, I was more fatigued than I should have been when I got to that rep, and it negatively affected my ability to position properly and to use everything efficiently. So the movement power broke down, and I really had to struggle and grind through that last rep. And sometimes you have to struggle and grind to make up for some of the mistakes you've done in the past. But when you're setting up for success, it's better to be patient and stay in that moment, to not overwhelm yourself by thinking too far ahead. And I do want to give credit to one of my athletes who reminded me of this. It's a pretty simple, straightforward idea, but Mark McQueen over in Scotland, one of my guys who I've been working with for quite a while now, very strong young lifter, and I'm very proud of the progress he's made. And a few weeks ago, when I was kind of in the midst of some of these inner struggles, he definitely had noticed, and in one of our messaging sessions back and forth via the Facebook, he kind of reminded me of the idea of taking things one step at a time. And I feel like that was so much more poignant than it deserved to be. It's such a simple idea. The idea of, we'll just take things one step at a time and it'll be okay. But I needed to be reminded of that, because what I had done was there were a couple of external factors that I mentioned that kind of opened the door for me to get off track, and then to reestablish some of the good patterns that I needed to find success in the areas that I was pursuing. What needed to happen is I needed to kind of reset myself. And the problem was, at the start, I was trying to employ patience, but I was also becoming so overwhelmed in the planning process of how I was going to do that. I tried to do too many things at once, and I filled all of my usable mind space, all of my willpower was being spent just by not letting me unload one thing at a time. I prioritized things, or I thought that I did, but because I couldn't take my focus off of some of the other things that I was interested in, some of my other passions, goals, pursuits, what have you. I was never able to put my full focus into any one moment as I was doing it. I was always splitting that focus. And for a person like myself, who ends up being pretty reflective and contemplative, this was a really the idea of me fighting to stay patient, but also having so much on my mind, I wasn't able to clearly organize everything and move forward. And a lot of the times when you have a big task ahead of you, or many tasks, the only way to approach it is to settle down and embrace the idea of doing one thing at a time, even if it is killing you to feel like you're not doing enough. You just have to focus on the here and now, and that's kind of one of the approaches that I'm really trying to implement in all these areas of my life that had become frustrating, and so that's something I'm doing now. And I do want to say thanks, Mark. I talked to a lot of people while I was going through this about how I would kind of pull myself out of it. There were a lot of things going on in my mind, and that was a very important conversation for us to have, and I'm very thankful. I'm going to link Mark's channel down in the description. He does have his own YouTube channel, and is I work with him, and I'm very proud of the growth he's shown physically and through his maturity as a lifter. And so I just wanted to make sure that credit was given where it was due, because he is a big part of what helped me with this. And my best friend Adam up in Canada was really important in telling me some things that I needed to hear, along with my family and my girlfriend Jess. So that was a lot for me to unpack again in this video, but I feel like this is good for me to not just hold it all inside. And this has happened to me before. I don't like it. I don't want to have it happen again. And so I'm trying to set up some systems that will help to prevent my mental state from degrading to these points. I work really hard on improving myself. You guys know that. But no one is perfect, and the idea that that's what we're chasing can get really overwhelming at times. So just take it one day at a time, one step at a time, and eventually you'll be able to move closer to the goals that you set for yourself. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate the warm welcome back, and I plan on sticking around a little more this time. Thanks. Have a good night. Bye.